Will that be done soon? Will that on the Cricut be done soon? Okay, great. It's 10 now. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let me put our doc for the call into the chat. And the chat on desktop is down in the bottom right. It's the little message icon. And I am pinning this so anyone who comes in later can access the doc. This just has our loose agenda for today and some links for you. And it includes our tarot spread for today. So our full moon was yesterday. Let's see where we are today with the moon is still 0% full. So we are still in this new moon. And it is in Pisces. It'll be moving into Aries later today. So that's quite a shift between the dreamy Pisces energy, intuition, and connection, and then moving into Aries with a brand new moon will be interesting. Aries is more fiery and action-oriented rather than dreamy. So be aware of your temper. Be aware that the tendency to snap at folks may come up if you're misunderstood, and keep that under wraps as well as you can. So in our doc today, we're building profit from truth. So our first question is whether your work is in growth mode or recalibration. I would say for my work, I am mostly in growth mode with a little bit of almost continual recalibration because I am always learning something new, learning new tweaks, slightly adjusting things like my messaging. And so I would say both, but mostly growth. What about you, Jen?
What was the question?
Is your business more in growth mode or more recalibrating?
Oh, I'm definitely in growth mode.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out how to do that.
Yes. And Soliette, if you'd like to share, you're welcome to. If not, that's fine too. So later today, our new moon will be at 1% illumination. It increases about 3% illumination every day that it is waxing or appearing to grow larger in the sky after the new moon. And Suliette says growth. Yes. All right, we are using the Biddy Tarot deck today. This is my usual daily driver for when I'm sharing with others. I like this deck, as I've said before, because it is inclusive. Not only are the people different shades of tan, they are also gold and purple sometimes.
Me too.
Yes. All right, so for today's reading, we're going to start with what's the fantasy version of my business? What's the fantasy version? Best it could be, perfectly aligned.
How do you interpret that word? Fantasy.
Yes, fantasy to me is best possible version if you could have everything and anything exactly the way you wanted. All right, so first up, we've got the King of Cups, and that makes perfect sense for me. So King of Cups here, sitting on his throne, surrounded by water, is holding his chalice here. And the King of Cups for me as my fantasy business would mean that I'm well connected, as water and cups represent intuition and connection, relationships, well connected with my customers and potential customers. It, for me, would mostly mean that I'm able to clearly communicate what I'm offering so that people can decide easily whether that's for them or not. If anybody is drawing cards along with me, you're welcome to share your cards or not, however you're most comfortable. Okay, question 2. What's the emotionally honest version? And here we have, thank you, to the point, tarot, the Judgment card. Yeah, sometimes tarot just puts it to us. So the emotionally honest version, being the Judgment card, definitely does tell on me that my spiritual work is my business work. Business work is spiritual work. And I have to be leveling up how I behave, how I think about things, and relate to people to continue leveling up my business. Each new challenge in business presents another personal development challenge for me. Can I step up to the challenge? Can I communicate in a new way, perhaps, if that's what a new customer needs? And can I hold the vision, even when things in the world around us are not looking like what I've decided they're going to be? Can I hold that energy? So the Judgment card, thank you very much, Tarot. And number 3, what structure would support this vision sustainably? And I've got the Hermit, and that makes perfect sense. We need to be reflecting on what's going on rather than just selling everything like hotcakes. We need to think about the need behind, say, a successful product. If people are buying that quickly and loving it, what else could you offer that's related? So an example would be someone who walks dogs. They could also sell dog treats or overnight packages. So what do you do that you could add on, like a sidecar, for people who need that? Okay, and Juliet is sharing in the chat for the, and am I pronouncing your name correctly? Please let me know. For the first question, she got 8 of Wands, progress, for the fantasy version of her business, and the 10 of Wands, responsibility, for the emotionally honest version. Absolutely am there with you. Okay, great to know that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. That's pretty. And so the structure supporting this vision, the Hermit. What else did I want to share on the Hermit supporting our business? Besides the reflection and thinking about what else we could add on, thinking deeply about what the people we serve need. And this is related to, but not the same as, what could I add on? Like, what situation are they in? Revisiting your ideal client avatar or profile, if you have one of those, And I would say also writing a dream client profile and seeing where that aligns or doesn't with your current average client. So if you take the top 3, say, customers that you've worked with, what were the traits that they had in common? What were their personalities, or where were they in their work or personal life? What have they already tried? What have they been successful at? And what are they looking for now? What's the issue now that needs fixed? My across the street neighbor is having a massive tree taken down. So things are a bit noisy here. I hope that you cannot hear that. But I am rather distracted. So we are going to keep this brief this morning because I keep feeling like obviously you can hear that, even though no, you can't.
Can't hear it at all.
Thank you for letting me know. But it is quite noisy. I feel like I can hear everything the machinery is doing, which I probably can. It's not too far across the street. Okay, and okay, I see. So Suliet was sharing that she got 2 cards for the first question. So the fantasy version is both progress and responsibility for her. Yes, that does make sense together when you have the 8 of Wands, which is that fast travel or progress, and 10 of Wands, which can be overburdened with the responsibility. But the good news about the 10 in any suit is that you are at the end of a cycle. And so you're about to start the new cycle, whatever that will be. For the second question, which is the emotionally honest version, the Wheel of Fortune and 5 of Swords. So things are moving, things are progressing in those cycles like we were just talking about. And the 5 of Swords lets us know that there's been some conflict. There may be some conflict upcoming. And we see the person in the 5 of Swords holding some of the swords. Other swords are on the ground. And so it seems like some people have just given up and turned away. So we want to be sure that the way we are relating with people is honest. The swords are about truth and cutting through the BS. So letting people know exactly what's going on, what our intent is, and how we can help them or not, because there are some people we're not meant to work with.
Would you like to see my cards?
I would love to.
Okay, so for the first one, I got Justice, but reversed, and I'm using my Housewives Tarot deck again. So that's what she looks like upright. She is holding a wooden spoon with the kid over her lap, you know. What else is going on in here? It also looks like it's in a bedroom. So this is not like a living room or a kitchen or anything. And I think those things are kind of play into this whole card deck. Yeah, so that was that one. But it was, like I said, it was reversed. I know you don't always read them that way. My second card was the Queen of Pentacles, which I think is funny. It's the same card I got last week. Okay, anyway. And then my last card is the 10 of Pentacles. This, I wish I could get a better view
If
of
you
it.
put it close to your face, that usually works. There you go.
Yeah, it's still just kind of
somewhat.
right. So it kind of looks like an official seal, and there's a woman holding it up. So it's a great big circle, and it's got the 10 of Pentacles all the way around it. And inside of that is like this really big house with a nicely manicured yard. So whatever all of that means.
Material success with the 10 of Pentacles. Your environment is exactly what you've been working toward. Pentacles can be our bodies at the closest layer, closest level. And then outside of that, the Pentacles circle can include our home. And then the largest circle is our work and money.
So I think that's interesting. Obviously, I perked up when you said, you know, it reflects our body, because that's something that I'm finally able to work on. In fact, when we get done here, I'm going to get the MRI on my knee. So yeah,
Okay.
it just made me perk up. I went to the doctor the other day and they're referring me on. He said there's definitely something going on with it. So
okay, well,
so
looking
that's interesting.
for good answers and result of your scan.
Me
Solid
too.
answers, yes.
Yeah. So I'm guessing how that plays in to like the overall question, and as it relates to the business, it's just that it's really distracting. You know, a level of pain and discomfort, and kind of distracting to have to sit with it all day.
Yes.
So it keeps me from being able to concentrate on business tasks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pain can definitely draw us away from nearly everything if
Yeah.
it's intense or nagging or constantly present. Pain in so many forms. Yeah.
Yes.
As a nurse, I definitely relate to that and understand. I've always believed in treating people's pain to the maximum extent that's reasonable and possible.
Yeah.
Even if I can't tell they're in pain, if they say they're in pain, then as long as it's reasonable, again, based on vital signs and everything else, then we treat that. We
Yeah.
take it seriously. Pain can actually interfere with healing in the rest of the body.
I believe that. Yeah, I do.
And I'm just noting in the chat here that Jennifer's note taker has introduced itself a second time. Hello, Jennifer's note taker, and welcome. I have included one GPT for you today, the Money Mirror Manifestation AI. And I'm just going to open this up for a second to remind myself who it's from. I think this is from Sadie. No, this is from Angela Bullock. Exposing the identity lag, costing you money. That relates clearly to our questions of what's the fantasy version versus what's the emotionally honest version. All right, so in other news, the Gold Standard bundle is going on. Jen and I both have items in that bundle. It is a free bundle with an optional VIP upgrade to help girls in Kenya with their menstrual supplies so that they can stay in school. Otherwise, they have to stay home from school and could end up missing up to 50 days of school in a year, which is quite a lot. So the link for that bundle is there. And we are sister communities with Jen's group, Crossroads Collective, where I support. And Social Spell Collective is my group where I provide done for you social media posts for paying members. My free members get lots of fun resources, including Freebie Fridays and monthly content themes that you can easily plug into your favorite AI idea generator and create content from there for the month. Jen, is there anything specific going on in your group that you want to share?
I have shared a couple of different prompts to use with AI that will help give you, the first couple were for images, like if you wanted to create new images for like a new product, like a new workbook or journal or something. And then yesterday I shared a new prompt that I'm working on inside of a workbook that'll come out soon-ish, that helps AI help you find relevant and current, like products that you can, you know, that you can create or add on. Like you were talking
Oh,
about in
the
the reading,
niche
it might
one.
be really helpful to use to come up with that sidecar product.
Hmm.
So yeah, shared a couple of those. We've also had some really interesting, kind of deeper conversations about our spirituality and our practices and how that fits in with kind of a more Christian narrative or a more mainstream narrative, because we're both here in the U.S. and not all of our people are, but
Right.
even within that, there's such a wide variety
Hmm.
of practices. So there's been some really cool conversations happening there.
Yeah, it is neat to see in many religious traditions how elements of what we practice as the craft really overlap or exactly the same, um, including like laying of the hands on the sick and prayers, which are petitions, which are just like intentions. So many things flow into one another.
You know, as you were saying that too, going back to the second question, you drew judgment, and I wonder where that fits into that whole, especially for us because we have more spiritually based businesses, even though they don't seem like they are necessarily, because we're both providing content, but it's content for those spaces. So I think judgment is also an interesting card in that position.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And so Liette is sharing in the chat for the last question, which is what structure would support this vision? She got the Two of Swords stuck in the middle, and Death, which is transformation. I actually have a deck, the Star Child Tarot Akashic, that lists Death as transformation, and Temperance, which is serenity or equal parts of things brought together to make something completely different. The same Star Child Tarot Akashic calls Temperance alchemy, as you're adding different ingredients to get something brand new. Just like with a cake, nobody wants to eat a raw judgment. See, here we go. Most people do not want to eat a raw egg. Thank you for checking me on that, Jen. And so raw egg and flour, like what's up with that? But put this together with some milk and butter and sugar. Guess what? Now you have cake. That's pretty cool. And baking is alchemy. You're adding different ingredients together to get something wildly different than the originals.
I had never thought of it that way, but that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's not my magic because I am not a cook.
Yeah, I can cook on the stovetop very well. Baking, simple things I can do.
Yeah.
My sibling bakes bread and all kinds of bread-related desserts, all manner of lovely things, but I'm definitely not the baker of the family.
My oldest daughter loves to cook, and she's so good at it. And it's baking and cooking and you name it. If it's food related, she can do it. It's
That's
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, I miss having her home.
Yes. Very good. So structures supporting the vision for Suliet. So we talked about the transformation. Allowing things to change in your business is a big positive deal. Sometimes things are going to change whether we want them to or not, which is often the point of the death card. It's inevitable. And then pairing that with temperance or alchemy, it's more change. Temperance is more of a voluntary change because we are putting ingredients in ourselves. We're deciding what we're going to include. And then we have the Two of Swords, which, if you've seen the YouTube video, Old Greg, I'm sorry, make an assessment. If you've not seen it, please don't look it up because just don't. It's not necessary. It's a dumpster fire. It's not necessary. So make an assessment is what I hear as a line from that video anytime I see the Two of Swords. So deciding exactly what you're going to allow through that death and temperance and exactly where you're headed. What's the transformation going to do for you? Where are you going after this? Death so often acts as a graduation from one stage to another. And so this could be a fantastic leveling up, but it may look like giving up certain things you were doing before, like certain products or services, so that you can focus on what's really going to make the difference for your people. Wonderful. Suliet agrees and says, yes, profound shifts right now. Yeah, well, I would say Two of Swords plus two majors for the supporting structures. That's pretty big shifts. All right, I am going to, oh, well, cool. We're almost at the half hour. Fantastic. I thought we might be a little short today, but very good. I'm going to go and try to work without wanting to go stop the people doing the tree tearing down. This particular tree does need to go. It's not frivolous removal. We have neighbors who are now moving, who tore down the trees between our property and theirs for no good reason. But thankfully today is different and a different neighbor. So
That's sad. Trees are amazing.
yes, yes. Where I grew up, someone purchased the land across the road from my dad's house, and I went to visit one day, and all the trees that had been across the road. Bye, thank you, Suliet. Had been torn down, and that was really shocking. I'm primarily German background, a little Nordic. Baron actually is a German name, and we also have some Native American, and that just cut into me, those trees being torn down. So yeah. I agree with you, Jen.
I grew up in a kind of out in the country, and there was, I don't even know how we found it. I don't know if my dad and my uncles and stuff used to go hunting, so that could be how we ended up finding it. But there's this piece of land that had this tree that I think it took like 4 or 5 people to actually stand around, with their arms out to touch. Yeah. It was so big and so old, and it just had the most amazing energy. But where we live now, we have a lot of trees, but they're not very healthy. I don't know if there's something, in the land necessarily underneath. They all grow kind of like weeds. Like we have roots and all kinds of stuff like that. There's a lot of cottonwoods here too. So this time of year kind of is awful, but, with allergies and stuff. But I've always loved trees.
Yes, me too. All right. I'm
looking out my window at one. So.
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, of course. I love coming to these. They're fun and enlightening at the same time.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now if you'll stay on for just a minute, Jen.
Sure, of course.